Welcome to Rain Pattern on Leafy Branches, a soothing slice-of-life story crafted to gently guide you towards a peaceful night's sleep. If you find tranquility in this calming narrative and wish to experience more stories like it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for a continuous stream of relaxing audiobooks. Before we immerse ourselves in Clara's serene countryside retreat, we will begin with a short breathing guidance to help you unwind and prepare for the tranquil journey ahead. For those eager to dive straight into the story, chapter timestamps are conveniently located in the video description below, allowing you to navigate directly to each part of Clara's day. Now, allow yourself to settle into a comfortable position, letting your body become heavy and relaxed against your resting place. Gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable, and let go of any tension you might be holding in your shoulders or jaw. Imagine you are nestled in a cozy armchair, just like Clara in her cottage, with a warm cup of tea in your hands and the soft sound of rain just outside the window. This is your moment to release the day's worries and invite a sense of calm and quiet into your mind and body. Let's take a deep, calming breath together. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, drawing in the peaceful atmosphere around you. Feel your lungs gently expand, and then exhale slowly and softly through your mouth, like a gentle sigh releasing any remaining stress. With each breath, imagine the gentle rain washing away any tension, any lingering thoughts of the day. Feel the soft weight of your eyelids, the gentle warmth spreading through your limbs, and the comforting rhythm of your breath becoming slower and deeper. If your mind wanders, simply acknowledge the thoughts without judgment and gently guide your attention back to your breath or the sound of my voice. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, except right here in this moment of peace. Allow the gentle patter of rain on leafy branches to carry you away to a place of quiet serenity. Let the story of Clara's peaceful day envelop you, leading you towards a state of deep relaxation and restful sleep. Chapter 1. Arrival and the Scent of Damp Earth. Clara turned the key in the lock of Rose's cottage, the old mechanism clicking open with a satisfying sound. A rush of slightly cool, fresh air greeted her as she pushed the door inward, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of damp earth and rain-kissed greenery. It was a smell that spoke of quietude and renewal, instantly easing the city-worn edges of her mind. She stepped inside, pulling her small suitcase behind her, and paused just inside the doorway, letting the atmosphere of the cottage envelop her. Sunlight, diffused by the lingering cloud cover, filtered softly through the windows, casting a gentle, even light across the room. Dust motes danced lazily in the beams, illuminated like tiny stars in a still galaxy. The interior was simple and welcoming, with whitewashed walls, wooden floors warmed by braided rugs, and comfortable, slightly worn furniture that seemed to invite relaxation. A small vase of freshly cut lavender sat on the windowsill, its delicate fragrance mingling with the earthy scent from outside. Clara closed the door behind her, shutting out the faint hum of the distant road, and a profound sense of quiet descended. It wasn't the stark silence of an empty space, but rather a peaceful stillness, humming gently with the subtle sounds of nature just beyond the walls. She could hear the faint rustle of leaves in the light breeze, the distant chirp of birds, and the almost imperceptible patter of lingering raindrops on the rug. The fragrant steam rising in swirling wisps, carrying with it the promise of warmth and comfort. She carried her mug to the window seat in the living room, settling into the cushions with a sigh of contentment. The warmth of the mug in her hands grounded her, the gentle herbal aroma soothing her mind. Looking out at the garden, still softly glistening in the diffused light, Clara took a slow, deliberate sip of her tea. The warmth spread through her, chasing away the lingering chill of the journey. The quiet sounds of nature, the gentle scent of damp earth and blooming flowers, the soft light filtering through the clouds all combined to create a moment of perfect peace. She was here in Rose Cottage, and the gentle rhythm of the countryside had already begun to weave its calming spell. Chapter 2. The Pitter-Patter begins. The afternoon unfolded with a quiet grace, each hour marked by subtle shifts in light and sound. Clara spent the early afternoon exploring the cottage, familiarizing herself with its nooks and crannies, its comforting familiarity. She ran her fingers along the spines of the books on the shelves, pausing to read the titles, each one a potential doorway to another world. She opened drawers and cupboards, discovering neatly folded linens, spare candles, and a collection of old photographs that hinted at the cottage's history. Lunch was a simple affair: crusty bread, cheese, and a ripe tomato, enjoyed at the small wooden table in the kitchen. Sunlight streamed through the window, warming the tabletop and casting long shadows that shifted slowly as the afternoon progressed. The only sounds were the gentle ticking of a grandfather clock in the hallway and the occasional chirp of a bird outside. The meal was savored slowly, each bite a moment of quiet appreciation for simple pleasures. As the afternoon deepened, a subtle shift in the atmosphere began to occur. The light outside grew softer, more muted, and the air seemed to become even stiller. Looking out the window, Clara noticed the clouds gathering, their edges darkening and merging into a seamless gray expanse. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves in the garden, rustling them with a hushed whisper that seemed to carry a promise of rain. Then the first drops began to fall. They started tentatively, almost hesitantly, like scattered pebbles tossed onto the roof. Clara paused in her reading, listening to the faint, irregular sounds. She moved to the window, drawn by the quiet drama unfolding outside. The drops were small and delicate, barely visible against the gray sky, but their rhythm was beginning to establish itself, a soft, insistent patter. The rain intensified gradually, the scattered drops coalescing into a steady, gentle shower. The sound became more defined, a continuous pitter-patter against the roof and the leaves of the trees in the garden. It was a soothing sound, a natural lullaby that seemed to invite stillness and introspection. The colors of the garden deepened, the greens becoming richer and more vibrant, the muted tones of the flowers taking on a new intensity. Clara returned to her armchair by the window, drawn by the cozy atmosphere that the rain was creating. She picked up her book again, but found herself more drawn to the scene outside. She watched as the raindrops traced patterns on the window pane, meandering paths of water that blurred the outside world into soft washes of color. The garden transformed into a shimmering, impressionistic painting, its details softened and diffused by the rain. She decided to make another cup of tea, the ritual becoming a comforting anchor in the gentle rhythm of the afternoon. This time, she chose lavender tea, its floral aroma particularly soothing in the damp air. As she waited for the kettle to boil, she watched the rain intensify further, the patter becoming more insistent, a steady drumbeat against the silence of the cottage. With her steaming mug of lavender tea in hand, Clara settled back into her armchair, pulling a soft blanket around her shoulders. The rain continued to fall, enveloping the cottage in a cocoon of gentle sound. The outside world seemed to fade away, replaced by the cozy interior and the soothing rhythm of the rain. A feeling of deep contentment settled over her, a sense of being perfectly at peace in the quiet embrace of the rainy afternoon. She closed her eyes for a moment, simply listening to the sound of the rain, letting its gentle rhythm wash over her. It was a sound that spoke of cleansing and renewal, of quiet growth and peaceful stillness. In the patter of the raindrops, she found a sense of calm and reassurance, a reminder of the simple beauty and quiet wonder that could be found in the ordinary moments of life. Chapter 3. A Book by the Window Seat. The rain settled into a steady rhythm, a comforting and consistent patter against the roof and windows. Inside Rose Cottage, the atmosphere was one of quiet coziness, a haven of warmth and tranquility amidst the gentle downpour. Clara, nestled in the window seat, felt perfectly content in her indoor sanctuary, the world outside reduced to the soft sounds of rain and the muted colors of the garden. She opened her book, a collection of gentle essays about nature and simple living, its pages worn soft with time and reading. The texture of the paper beneath her fingertips was comforting, familiar, and the scent of old paper and ink added to the overall sense of cozy contentment. She began to read, her eyes following the lines of text, her mind gently drawn into the world of words and reflections. The rhythmic sound of the rain became a soothing backdrop to her reading, a natural white noise that filtered out any other distractions. The gentle patter seemed to underscore the quiet rhythm of the sentences, creating a harmonious blend of sound and text. She lost herself in the stories, the words flowing smoothly and effortlessly, carrying her thoughts along with them. The window seat was a perfect spot for rainy day reading. Cushioned with soft pillows and blankets, it offered a comfortable vantage point from which to observe the garden while remaining sheltered from the rain. The glass of the window, streaked with raindrops, created a slightly blurred and softened view, adding to the dreamlike quality of the scene. The colors of the garden, seen through the rain-streaked glass, were muted and gentle, like a watercolor painting washed in soft hues. As she read, Clara occasionally glanced up at the garden, observing the subtle changes wrought by the rain. The flowers seemed to droop slightly under the weight of the water droplets, their colors deepened and intensified. The leaves of the trees glistened, reflecting the diffused light like tiny mirrors. The entire garden seemed to breathe with a quiet, rhythmic pulse, responding to the gentle caress of the rain. The warmth of her herbal tea mug in her hands was a grounding sensation, a comforting anchor in the quiet stillness of the afternoon. She took slow, deliberate sips, savoring the warmth, and the delicate herbal flavor. The steam rising from the mug carried a gentle fragrance that mingled with the scent of damp earth and rain-washed air, creating a subtle and soothing aroma. Time seemed to lose its usual structure, flowing by in a gentle, unhurried manner. Clara read for a long while, pausing occasionally to gaze out at the garden, to sip her tea, or simply to listen to the sound of the rain. There was no sense of urgency, no need to rush or accomplish anything. The afternoon was simply a space for quiet contemplation, for gentle reading, and for peaceful being. A sense of deep relaxation settled over her, seeping into her muscles and calming her mind. The combination of the gentle rain, the cozy atmosphere, the comforting book, and the warm tea created a perfect environment for unwinding and letting go of any lingering tension. She felt her shoulders soften, her jaw unclench, and her breath become slower and deeper. As the afternoon moved towards evening, the light outside began to fade gradually, the gray sky deepening in hue. The rain continued to fall, its rhythm unwavering, a constant and comforting presence. Clara marked her place in her book, closed it gently, and placed it on the small table beside the window seat. A feeling of quiet contentment filled her, a sense of having spent the afternoon in perfect peace, nurtured by the simple pleasures of a rainy day indoors. Chapter 4. The Garden in the Rain. Despite the steady rain, Clara felt a gentle pull towards the garden. The thought of the rain-washed plants, the fresh scent of wet earth and foliage, and the quiet beauty of the garden in the rain drew her outside. She knew it wouldn't be a long walk, but the desire to experience the garden in this different guise was compelling. She dressed warmly, pulling on a thick sweater and waterproof trousers, and slipped her feet into sturdy rain boots. She found a bright yellow raincoat hanging by the door, its cheerful color a welcome contrast to the gray day. She shrugged into it, fastened the buttons, and pulled the hood up over her head, feeling a sense of cozy protection against the elements. Opening the cottage door, she stepped out into the garden. The air was cool and fresh against her skin, carrying a revitalizing dampness. The scent of rain-soaked earth was stronger here, mingling with the intensified fragrances of the flowers and herbs. The sound of the rain was more immediate, a gentle patter all around her, softened by the rustling of leaves and the quiet gurgle of water running off the roof. The garden was transformed by the rain, its colors deepened and intensified, its textures softened and glistening. The roses, heavy with raindrops, drooped their heads gracefully, their petals a richer, more velvety hue. The lavender bushes, usually a pale gray-green, were now a vibrant, almost luminous green, their fragrant spikes sparkling with droplets. The herbs, their scents amplified by the moisture, released a heady aroma that filled the air. Clara walked slowly along the stone path, her boots making soft squishing sounds on the wet stones. She observed the raindrops clinging to every leaf and petal, each droplet a tiny lens magnifying the details of the plant beneath. The water droplets clung to the edges of rose petals like delicate jewels, tracing the veins of leaves in shimmering lines, and gathering in pools in the centers of flowers, reflecting the soft gray sky above. She paused by a patch of ferns, their fronds unfurling in graceful curves, each frond adorned with countless tiny droplets. The ferns seemed to thrive in the dampness, their green a lush and vibrant shade, their textures velvety soft to the touch. She gently touched a frond, feeling the cool smoothness of the water and the delicate texture of the plant. The sound of the rain was different out here in the garden, a more immersive and enveloping experience than from inside the cottage. The patter on the leaves, the drops falling onto the stone path, the gentle drip from the eaves all combined to create a symphony of soft, natural sounds. It was a calming and peaceful soundscape, a reminder of the gentle rhythms of nature. She walked further into the garden, drawn to a small wooden bench nestled beneath an old apple tree. The tree's branches, heavy with leaves and raindrops, formed a natural canopy, providing a slightly drier shelter. She sat down on the bench, the damp wood cool beneath her, and leaned back against the trunk of the tree, feeling a sense of grounding and connection to the earth. From her vantage point on the bench, she could observe the entire garden, now fully immersed in the rain. The rain fell steadily, washing over the plants, cleansing the air and creating a sense of quiet renewal. The garden seemed to breathe with a slow, peaceful rhythm, responding to the gentle caress of the rain. A feeling of deep tranquility settled over Clara, a sense of being perfectly at peace in the heart of the rain-washed garden. She closed her eyes for a moment, listening to the sounds of the rain, feeling the cool dampness of the air on her face, and breathing in the fresh, earthy scents of the garden. It was a moment of simple sensory immersion, a gentle connection to the natural world, and a quiet appreciation for the beauty and tranquility of a rainy afternoon in the garden. Chapter 5. Evening and the Clearing Sky. As evening approached, a subtle shift began to occur in the rhythm of the rain. The steady patter softened, becoming less insistent, more intermittent. The intensity of the shower lessened, the drops becoming smaller and lighter, like a gentle whisper rather than a continuous murmur. Inside Rose Cottage, the light grew softer, the gray sky outside beginning to lighten slightly, hinting at a possible clearing. Clara, returning from her walk in the garden, felt refreshed and invigorated by the cool, damp air and the quiet beauty of the rain-washed plants. She removed her raincoat and boots, leaving them by the door to drip dry, and changed into warm, dry clothes, feeling a sense of cozy comfort envelop her. The warmth of the cottage felt particularly welcoming after the coolness of the garden. The thought of a warm, comforting meal arose in her mind. She wandered into the kitchen, drawn by the idea of preparing something simple and nourishing. The kitchen was bathed in the soft, diffused light of the late afternoon, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. She opened the refrigerator, considering her options, and decided on a simple vegetable soup, a perfect dish for a cool, rainy evening. The preparation of the soup was a gentle and mindful process. Clara chopped vegetables slowly and deliberately, the rhythmic sounds of the knife against the cutting board filling the quiet kitchen. The fragrant aromas of onions, carrots, and celery filled the air as she sautéed them gently in a pot, the sizzle and steam creating a comforting soundscape. The clinking of utensils, the gentle bubbling of the soup, the soft sounds of cooking all combined to create a peaceful and domestic rhythm. As the soup simmered on the stove, filling the cottage with its savory aroma, Clara moved to the window, drawn by a subtle change in the light outside. Looking out, she noticed that the clouds were beginning to part, revealing patches of lighter gray and even hints of pale blue sky. The rain had almost stopped completely, reduced to a sporadic drizzle, and the air seemed to hold a sense of expectant stillness. The garden, washed clean by the rain, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief as the downpour subsided. The colors, still intensified by the moisture, seemed to glow with a soft inner light. The droplets of water on the leaves and petals sparkled faintly in the diffused evening light, catching and reflecting the subtle changes in the sky. A sense of freshness and renewal permeated the air, a feeling of the world being cleansed and refreshed. Clara ladled the steaming soup into a bowl, the warmth radiating outwards, carrying with it the comforting aroma of vegetables and herbs. She carried her bowl to the small table by the window, setting it down gently, and then poured herself a glass of water, the gentle clinking of glass adding to the quiet symphony of the evening. Sitting at the table, she looked out at the garden, now bathed in the soft, muted light of the clearing evening sky. The rain had stopped completely, leaving behind a world washed clean and refreshed. The air was still and quiet, holding a sense of peaceful anticipation. The colors of the sunset, pale pinks and soft oranges, began to paint the edges of the clouds, adding a gentle warmth to the gray canvas of the sky. She took a spoonful of soup, the warmth spreading through her, chasing away the lingering chill of the rainy day. The savory flavors of the vegetables and herbs were comforting and satisfying, a perfect end to a day spent in quiet contemplation and gentle connection with nature. A sense of peaceful completion settled over her, a feeling of having embraced the quiet rhythms of the day and found solace in the simple beauty of a rainy afternoon. The gentle transition from rain to clearing sky mirrored the quiet shift within her, from the gentle introspection of the afternoon to the peaceful contentment of the evening.